Hey everyone, this is Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitch. And I want to tell you about the NBA weekend, and I'm going to tell you the truth. It's Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I'm going to tell you the truth why the Celtics won and the Nets lost and all the good games in the weekend. The Nets Celtics. The Celtics really were beating the Nets up. They were beating them up, and they had the lead, and the crowd was intense and loud. And I'm watching the game. I'm thinking, okay, Boston's going to blow them out, but the game was closer than it felt like. And then in the third quarter, Boston took an 82-69 lead. I'm like, okay, they're going to blow the Nets out. The Nets aren't playing with a physical force. Kevin Durant turned the ball over. He ended up with 6 turnovers, only 23 points. Then they got up to 14. All right. They got up to 15. 84-69. All right. Third quarter. Nets chipped away, cut to 11 by the quarter. Then they came storming back. Kyrie Irving went clean off. They ended up having the lead. Kyrie Irving hits a three-point shot with 5:30 left. They're up 5. Now you get a stop here and a couple of rebounds, but what happened is they don't have that third guy. So now the Celtics, who's a good defensive team, can now pinch over. Okay, we'll give help with Kyrie. We'll give help on Durant. And what makes them good is they have interchangeable parts between Brown, Tatum, and Smart. They're all about the same size. They all can guard the 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So that was problematic for the Nets, but they still were in the game. It's 107-107 after Smart drives for an uncontested layup. Kyrie Irving hits a terrifically tough shot. Now they're up 2. Derek White drives in for a layup, uncontested. Another uncontested layup. He drives past either Curry or Irving, and there was zero help. You can't do that. You got to sell out in the fourth quarter. Then Durant makes a tough fadeaway after a horrible possession. Nets didn't have good possessions. The Celtics had good defense, but the Nets were really helped out. They helped Boston out. And then Al Horford gets one of his 6 offensive rebounds. Al Horford, because I was kind of joking around. I said, Al Horford's kind of old now. He kind of old he wasn't kind of old in this game. He had 6 offensive rebounds. He got a big offensive rebound to tie the game. Kyrie Irving hits a tough 3-point shot over. No, that was the 3-point shot Kyrie Irving hit with Smart, tried to play hero ball. Guard Durant, tried to double Durant, leave Irving open. When you're not the double guy. The double guy should be Brown or Dragic's guy. And you leave one of those guys open, they're not going to make the shot. So they're down 3 with 45 seconds left. Jaylen Brown drives for an uncontested. He goes around Kyrie Irving, and there's zero help whatsoever. There's just gave away the points quick with a quick bucket. 38 seconds left, and it was a horrible possession in that tab where Kyrie Irving took too long to. Is one of the rare mistakes he had all game long. He wanted the ball, but they triple teamed him, and he was looking for just to get the ball up in the air because they were as hot as he was, but they wouldn't allow it. Now you're giving the ball to Brown. Brown doesn't want the ball, so he's fortunate enough not to throw the ball away. So Durant gets the ball, and he's throwing up a long, tough shot he didn't make. And the Celtics have the ball. They run 2 guys at Marcus Smart, who was good enough. Now, he normally plays hero ball. He was playing hero ball. He hurt them on offense with a couple crazy threes he took. But this time he passed the ball to Jason Tatum, who hits the layup with no time left. And it wasn't about that play. This victory by the Celtics was that the Celtics won the backboards. And the Nets have a problem. They probably need a combination of Claxton and Drummond. Drummond is not quick enough he can get you buckets and rebounds, but at times in a game like this where Boston's a little quicker, you need Claxton, but Claxton's too thin. So you can push Claxton around to get offensive rebounds. The Nets are not tough enough on the backboards. And they gave up too many uncontested layups in the fourth quarter. You got to sell out. You got to die for loose balls. When that ball's, I watched a couple times. Ball would go in the air, and Horford would just go and retrieve it. Even when there's a switch, if you're a guard, even if Horford, you're a 6'1" guard, you box Horford out. Horford goes over and gets the rebound, and you commit a foul. I'm okay with that. But I watched it a couple of times. They stared into the air as the ball went in. Horford just was able to wall Horford and Theus, who had 4 offensive rebounds himself. They had 14 offensive rebounds combined. So they annihilated the Nets on the backboard. That's where the game was lost. The layup was a product of the mistakes that the Nets had. And a lot of that's desire. When you box out a bigger guy and you go get the ball, you want it more. Boston wanted it more than the Nets. Now, Boston really controlled the game. Then the Nets took over. So the Nets were going to steal the game, and Boston stole it back. And it's problematic because the Nets could have really put some pressure on Boston winning this game. But the Celtics took care of business. Now the Nets have to come back. And I was talking to my friend, and they're like, forget Ben Simmons. They need Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons would have been perfect because you don't want Dragic is a liability right now. It's too old. The game is probably passed him by. He could dribble the ball up the court, and that's about it. He can't make a layup. He can't make a push shot. It's rare he makes a three-point shot. He can't defend. He doesn't rebound. He stares at loose balls. Ben Simmons will give me rebounds on defense. I understand he can be scared of his own shadow when he has the ball in big situations, but he's a good playmaker. And his point guard ability would free Kyrie Irving up so he's not running into triple teams at the end of games, and that would change everything. I'm speeding. Well, I mean, you can't. The guy has I don't know if his back is still hurting. If it's fine, good enough to play, I'm playing him. I don't care, condition, no condition. If he's not in the super best condition, I'm giving him 10 minutes. I'm giving him 15 minutes. In the last 5 minutes, I'm putting in the game for defense. And I'll take my chances. If I got to sit Brown or Dragic, I'm going to do that. If Drummond's not quick enough to defend and get to help, Simmons can. And that allows KD, who did play a good defensive game, especially on the fast break, to be more of a facilitator and more of a guy that could block a couple of shots. And now Ben Simmons is defending smart. Now he's defending Brown. So the Nets have to get game 2 is the biggest game of the series, I believe, for the Nets. They need to win, and then they would have to just win one more game in Boston, whether it's game 5 or game 7, if it's a split. But if they lose game 2, see, 2 or 3, 2 things could happen in this game 2. Boston could blow them out because of the momentum from the other day, from this game, or it could be a tight game and the Nets take it, and now we got a long series ahead of us. Because if Boston wins, then it'll be eventually the Boston win the series. Whether it's 5, 6, or 7, they'll win the series. Because that game 1 will be so costly, the Nets will regret that. But if they win game 2, now it's a whole new series. They get to go to Brooklyn to try to get 2 games or get a split, go back, try to get game 5 or get, they could win. If Ben Simmons is playing and he's like 75% of Ben Simmons and he's still really elite defensively, you could go into Boston and win a game 7 with Kyrie and KD. I have that much confidence. But without Ben Simmons, they're not winning this series, period. It's not happening. So check the stats of Ben Simmons when you're looking at this series. Now, when I come back, I'm going to go over all the other games. Okay, I want to talk about the world champs, the Milwaukee Bucks. They beat a game Chicago Bulls team. They battled throughout. The Bucks were leading like by 11 points, and they were dominating and playing really good. Then the Bulls in the second half go on this 13-0 run and go up 5. Vucevic was just hitting threes. They're making shots. Caruso is being a pest. He defended the heck out of Middleton. He's guarding Giannis. He's doing what he does. He's a champion. So, but Drew Holiday, and this is what the Nets lack. That's why they need Ben Simmons so much. Drew Holiday is that third guy that when Giannis not going off or he's on the bench, he gives them help. He helps them out, and he hit some big shots in the third quarter that helped them along. And then they were able, and Brook Lopez was big. And he hit a 5-foot floater that gave them a 3-point lead late. He hit a and one that was big. And they ended up taking the lead because of what Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez did. But the Bulls had about 4 or 5 opportunities with a 1-point game to take the lead. They got the lead. They could have had the lead, the larger margin. DeRozan was bad. Vujicic was horrible in the fourth quarter, missing a layup, missing every 3-point shot he took. And then at the end, they're down 3, and Levine takes a long, crazy 3-point shot. And then that's game. And Vujicic had 24 points. He had nothing in the fourth quarter. And DeRozan did nothing in the fourth quarter. He only had 18. Levine didn't do anything. Caruso was the guy with 7 points, but he did a lot of other things. And Kobe White was really good with 12 points. But it was about Drew Holiday. He had 15. He was plus 11, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, just guarding the heck out of everybody, making it tough, using his strength, driving to the hole, making big 3-point shots. He had 1 3-point shot, but it was a big one, making shots every time the Bucks need a basket. Because Giannis is going to do what he's going to do. He had 27. But Brook Lopez, and one of the biggest plays of the game was when Brook Lopez faked the 3-point shot and kind of did that little slow drive to the basket and got fouled and made the shot. Because of how lethal he is from 3, you have to chase him down. And he was crafty enough to do what he had to do. For a guy that's not quick, he's a good shot blocker and a good offensive rebounder. And he'll sneak in a drive or two. And that was Milwaukee lacked that when he was hurt this year. What concerns me about Milwaukee going forward to whether they're going to have to play Boston or the Brooklyn Nets, losing PJ Tucker, they just lost that little bit of toughness because Grayson Allen's giving you nothing. He's just other than being a moron, he'll hit a 3-point shot here and there. He's not the same great bench player. Now, underdog, Bobby Portis is, I love him. He gives you energy and points. Conan is solid, but Carter's okay. Their bench is not as good as last year. And then just PJ Tucker's toughness is not there. It's with the Miami Heat. So congratulations for the Bucks. They did win, but they're going to have to play better if they're going to beat the winner of the Nets and the Celtics. Speaking of the Heat, they destroyed the Hawks. After the Hawks took care of business against the Cavaliers to get in the playoffs, I'm very, very impressed. They came in there well rested. Capella's not playing. And they just destroyed the Atlanta Hawks. Butler had 21. He was playing. Tucker had 16 points, plus 17. Kyle Lowry, plus 21. Abaya, plus 27. Just playing big, and they're playing tough. They're the best defensive team. And I understand statistically Boston is, but without Williams, the Nets, they were getting drives and they were getting their buckets. They just were stupid at the end of the game. But Miami shut you down. I watched Miami in Boston, and Miami's defense was just better. I'm going by the eye test. I understand the stats. Miami and Golden State and Phoenix's defense is really good. And they showed that. Because look at the number they did to Trae Young. 8 points, 1 of 12, 0 of 7 from 3. Now, he'll be better, but in the long run, Capella, that's a tough loss. And their bench, Bogdanovich gave him nothing. They had to play Knox. He's not really a guy you play in the playoffs. Collins came back. That's nice, but Miami was just Butler and Lowry. Nice pickup, Kyle Lowry and Tucker. Miami is just a well-run organization, man. Just well-run. Tyler Hero, probably sixth man of the year. Martin, I love. And Duncan Robinson is 27 points off the bench. Miami is probably going to go to, I love what Philly did the other day against Toronto, but Miami's probably going to go to the conference finals. Now, the Hawks will be heard from. The Hawks they can win game 2 and make it. I think they're going to push them 5 or 6, maybe 6. I'm still a believer that the Hawks are battle tested, but this is a tall task trying to deal with the Heat and their defense because they D you up, bro. Now, I want to talk about Saturday's game. And a game that's the fans, I talk to a lot of people who love basketball. They're really into the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies because of John Morant and all those dudes and Edwards and Towns and what's Beverly going to do? Is he going to run his mouth? The end, D. Russ, Beasley and McDaniels, and Memphis with Morant and Brooks and Bain. Jackson, one of the best shot blockers in the league. Clark and Zaire Wade. There's a lot of good young talent. But Minnesota beat them up 130 to 117. And it was a 33-25 fourth quarter where they just took the game from them. And Karl Towns I told you guys he was going to come back, and my man was going to come back and play better. 29 points, 13 rebounds, plus 16. I didn't know Anthony Edwards was this good. My goodness. He was making tough drives. He was in rhythm, and they played a lot smarter. They played in the flow. The Beasleys and McDaniels on the team. Beasley had 23 points. McDaniels had 15. They hit 6 3-pointers. The bench had 7 3-pointers. Their bench was just better than Memphis, and I didn't like I'm concerned about Memphis because I said, well, Memphis is going to beat Minnesota. You know, they're gonna win. They'll beat Minnesota, no problem. But I don't know. Memphis and Minnesota is extremely confident against Memphis. They're just like, we're not losing to these guys. Memphis got to win game 2. Not only do they got to win game 2, they got to take some of this confidence. It's not overconfidence. They got to take some of this confidence away from Minnesota. Because just watching that game, you just felt like Minnesota believes they're going to beat Memphis in this series. They're not just going to win a game. They're going to win a series. And Memphis is going to have to make some adjustments. John Morant's going to have to – he had 32 points, but he's got to make a couple of jump shots to keep their defense honest because they built a great wall of Ja pretty much the way Minnesota collapsed on the paint. And I don't know – I guess you have to, but putting Steven Adams on Towns just went around him and tore Steven Adams to shreds. You're going to have to put the potential defensive player of the year on him. And Jackson, you worry about the foul shot, but you're going to have to D that dude up. So I'm looking forward to game 2, and I expect Memphis to even their series up, but they better, because Minnesota's going to come. Now, if they do even the series up, they got to go to Minnesota and kind of regain the momentum just to show them that, listen, we were one of the best teams in the West. We're going to come to your place, and we're going to get one of these games, and we're going to take this series in 6 or 7, because this has the makings of a long series. And it's not just a long – you talk about John Morant's high-flying ability, Edwards and Towns and Bain playing tough. It's going to be, if you're a basketball fan, you're going to enjoy the heck out of this series. What I'm not going to enjoy is just the beating that the Sixers are going to give the Raptors. It's not good because Scotty Barnes had 50 points, but he got hurt. They're without Young. They're without pieces they need. Philadelphia is too much. And Tyrese Maxey is the second best player on the Sixers. Because Harden right now is, from what I see right now, the last month, he looks like a glorified role player. He was 6 or 7 from the field. He gave you a 14 assists. And I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to have to just be that facilitator. Let Maxey and Embiid and Harris and Green, well, really Embiid, Harris, and Maxey eat. And they got to play defense. And, Shake Milton and Niang and Thibault defend the heck out of you. So the Sixers, I expect them to win this series. I expect Miami to win the series. That would be the Sixers and the Miami Heat will be one of the better series. That's a heck of a series, especially if you could get what you could get out of Harden. If you get 14 assists and 20 points and 14 assists out of Harden, you could beat the Heat. But that's going to be hard because Jimmy Butler's a dog, man. They got some dudes. I mean, I hate to just project that Toronto and Atlanta is going to be gone, but I do believe that Philadelphia will. I know Philadelphia is going to beat Toronto. Now, I'm not 100% sure about Atlanta because of how Trae Young could go off, how tough he is in the fourth quarter. They'll bounce back, but I'm very sure that the Sixers are going to send Toronto home. And then I want to talk about this clinic that the Golden State Warriors put on the underman Nuggets. No Murray and Michael Porter, not against this Golden State team. And I want to tell you something. There is a rising star in this NBA, and his name is Jordan Poole. He had 30 points and 3 assists, and he was balling. And Klay Thompson and Steph Curry deferred to him. They got their points, but they said, listen, youngin, you take this game today. We'll have our moments. We'll have times where we're gonna have some great moments. But youngin, this is your game. And he went to work, hitting big shot after big shot. Even when Denver tried to make it close, it was just Poole's time. Klay Thompson starting to find his stroke. I talked about that the other day. And Wiggins is solid. And the head of the snake and the biggest heartbeat of this entire team is Draymond Green. Not Klay Thompson and Curry, because Curry is Curry. But the toughness, because he's such an outrageously good passer. He's good at that foul line where he'll either pass off of a back screen or he'll pass the ball, where he'll set the screen as he's passing the ball to Curry or Thompson to set them up. Or Curry fakes like he's cutting to the basket, sprints back after the three-point line, and Green gives Curry a perfect pass where Curry's catching the ball in rhythm, bam, three-point shot. And like I said, it could be a 1-point lead that'll turn to a 23-point lead in the blink of an eye. And now you got Otto Porter playing good. And Gary Payton's just a tough-minded kid. He gives Golden State the toughness they need. I understand. And now Phoenix is beating the stuffings out of New Orleans right now as we speak. And they're saying, well, Phoenix is obviously the top team in the NBA. Not so fast. Be careful with that. I'm not putting them in the finals. I believe Phoenix and Golden State, no disrespect to Utah, which beat Dallas yesterday without Luka, and you look shabby. If it wasn't for O'Neal's hustle plays in the fourth quarter, he made a shot after he got a key rebound, and Gobert really defending their pick and roll without Luka really well, they would have lost that game to underman Mavericks. Phoenix is going to beat the brakes off the Jazz. And I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be gone. I look at the Jazz. This feels like this team's breaking up. I don't have facts on my side. It's just that hunch where the end could be near with this group. But I like Phoenix to whoop the winner. Even if Luka comes back and they win the series, they're not beating Phoenix. Phoenix is a machine right now, and they're beating up on. It's 53-34, and New Orleans not playing bad, but you're running into a juggernaut because you got Ayton could score a tie. Booker is Booker. Paul is just the greatest, one of the greatest point guards ever lived. You got that still playing well. And you got Mikal Bridges, who is up for Defensive Player of the Year. They defend you because, Craig and Payne and Cam Johnson, one of the most who could be sixth man of the year. Cam Johnson, one of the most underrated players, that North Carolina smart player. And Crowder is third in the NBA in plus. That plus minus. He's plus 12 tonight. Now, at times he did not like as bad as Marcus Smart, but at times he can play hero ball. But their flow and their offense is so big. And this is the biggest buzzword when it comes to the NBA. You want to hear it? Efficiency. If you're efficient, you usually win the game. The Celtics were a little more efficient than the Nets. They had easier shots. Both teams played decent defense, even though the Nets broke down a little bit more. Phoenix and Golden State are the most efficient offenses in the entire sport. The Bucks are raggedy, so they struggle. But those are the two teams that are the Miami Heat. There is efficient a defense team, and they're solid on offense, but they're efficient on defense. So teams that specialize and do what they do, and everybody knows their roles, are the teams that go far. No one does more than they should, and maybe a little extra when the playoffs come, and that's the key to winning. All right. I had the opportunity to interview Scotty Barnes when before he became this big star, and I wanted to spotlight that since he's potentially going to win the Rookie of the Year for Toronto. He had a terrific season. I hope he's going to be okay for at least Game 3. I don't think he's going to play Game 2 with a turned ankle, but I did have an opportunity to interview this fine young man.
I'm here with Scotty Barnes. You're like the Instagram sensation because of all the highlights you have for Mount Verde. Today, what was the key to winning this game?
I just know we needed to get up on defense. Don't let them hold the ball a lot. So we just needed to come out, play hard on defense, get up, stay in front of the ball. Basically,
you like you're having a lot of fun with the kids on the bench, even when it's garbage time and the other kids are scoring. You guys are really excited for the other kids.
Yes, I'm excited to see my other teammates play. I just love seeing them play. They don't really get to play a lot, so when they get their time in, it's fun to watch them play.
Now, I want to say something. He's got $1 million smile, but I'm going to tell you something, and this is a compliment. You play mean. When you're playing in a big game, you play with a mean, almost anger, and it almost like that's how you almost dominate most of the competition. It's like an anger. You ever see it? Because I watch you on Instagram, and when you're playing the real teams that are really competitive, it's like there's an angry fire that comes out.
It's just my passion for the game. When I'm playing really good or when a big play happens, my passion just comes out of me.
One big staple of a Kevin Boyle team is the bigs are terrific interior passers. That's something that's really been a staple for Kevin Boyle going all the way back to the Al Harrington days. You guys really are good at that.
I say this team is very unselfish. We have a lot of people that want to share the ball. We don't really care about our stats a lot. So it helps the team a lot because we move the ball. Most of the time we get our assists and our field goals. It matches up.
What do you love about Mount Verde when you came here this year?
What I love about Mount Verde, I love how they made me get in the gym a lot.
Kevin don't do that.
Yeah, they made us get in the gym a lot all the time. I worked harder. Kevin, he pushed me a lot. Every practice, we always in the weight room. It's just a non-stop grind.
Now, you're playing, you guys win. If you win the national championship, how would you compare to all the great forwards that played at Mount Verde with all the the players who played before you? How would you compare your game to those guys? Like Ben Simmons, he's your size, and if you win against Ben Simmons in high school and Scotty, what would happen?
We just won a game. I take every game the same way.
I got
It's
it.
a win.
A win's a win. All right, thanks a lot.
All right, congratulations to Errol Spence, who ends up winning the title versus Ugas. It was a really great fight, but you know what? Listen, you know what everybody really wants. Everybody really, really wants Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. That's just the bottom freaking line, man. Terrence Crawford wants it. Errol Spence wants it. Errol Spence fought a fantastic fight. He was able to go. What he did, and this is what I love, he went to the body early. He invested in the body early against Ugas and stayed busy. Use a jab to the body, hard shots to the body. Now, Ugas is a great pound puncher. And because Errol Spence is a predator, they're boxers and predators. Predators are looking for knockouts. He boxed well, and he was solid, but he did get hit because you are going to get hit against Ugas. Ugas is a terrific counterpuncher, but Ugas waited, ended up getting KO'd in the 10th round, I believe. And it was a terrific fight. In the sixth round, he ended up getting beat up a little bit, and then Errol Spence pops his mouthpiece out. It wasn't the right size, whatever. Then he gets caught. So they put the mouthpiece back. He was in some trouble, and Ugas had a chance to get him in real trouble, maybe win the fight. Spence is smart enough to survive, and when he went back to that corner, I'm saying, I just had this feeling that Spence is going to come out really angry. I've seen it happen before. Before he got buzzed by Mosley, and from that point on, he was in kill mode. Everybody talk about Floyd didn't hit hard. Floyd unleashed a fury against Mosley, and Mosley had a chin of iron, so he didn't knock him out. But Errol Spence was in knockout mode. This is no matter what was going to happen. I don't care how rugged this guy is, how big this guy is. He was big too. You saw what he did to Pacquiao. You saw what he did to Sean Porter, but he didn't care. Spence is warm out. He went to the body, stayed disciplined. Went to the head some more, busted his eye open. And now Ugas is starting to once Ugas retreated that last round, he had him, and he took care of business. And now Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford both had some crisis. Crawford got put down by Kaviakais, Russian fighter, really rugged guy who gave almost stopped Virgil Ortiz. And he gave Porter some trouble, knocked Porter down. Porter came back after that and destroyed the dude, ended up putting him away. And that's the sign of a great, great fighter. Not that you can just blow somebody away, but you can handle adversity. And Crawford did, and Spence did. I need to see these two guys fight. Spence is a terrific body puncher. He's not as ridiculously good a boxer as Crawford. Crawford's a predator. Great boxer, but he's a predator. He's looking for, whether he's going right-handed or left-handed, he can go both ways. But he's looking for a knockout. Spence is looking for a knockout. Neither of these guys are thinking this is going to do. It could, because of how great fighters they are, how tough they are, but it might not, because they both can be vulnerable to be hit, but they're great boxers. They're predators. They're nasty. They got a nasty mentality. Let's get this fight on, man. I don't need to talk anymore about this. I need to hear about an announcement. I need to be at that press conference in New York City. And let's go, man.